You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, today is the 18th of August 2024. It's a Sunday, and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And what I forgot to say in my magnificent 18-minute epic yesterday was that I'm in Chennai in India. I was yesterday in a hotel room in Chennai. Today I'm actually sitting on the roof by the swimming pool, and it's ridiculously warm here. It's 33 degrees, and kind of most of my plans for the day went out of the window. I was going to go for a walk. There's a national park quite close to here, but it's just too hot. I mean, it feels quite humid as well. Not quite Singapore humid, but it is warm, and I'm not really in the mood to do an awful lot today. But I have been productive. So one of the things I wanted to do is get my room tidied up, bins emptied and stuff. So I left my there's a call bell. And you have a button on the inside which is which can either be set to do not disturb or please come and make up my room. So I've set it to please come and make up my room, in the hope they'll come and make up the room and replenish the snacks in the minibar. Not so much because I want to eat anymore, but because I'd like them to keep a tally of what I've had, so I can go and pay my bill. Anyway, since I've been waiting for that to happen, I've actually managed to get some writing done. So there's this magnificent flight of steps. I mean, it's obviously magnificent because families are taking their photographs on it every time I walk past. And there's a magnificent flight of steps, and then away from that there's an escalator up to a floor with it's not really a lounge, it's an enormous hall, but there's seating there. So, and there's people taking their photographs in there. And one of the things I did this morning was I wrote the first 2,500 words of chapter 35 of Empress of the Trees. And I'm very glad I did, because there's two main scenes in chapter 35. There's a very emotional scene where it would appear the Mackenzie storyline reaches a climax. In particular, Mackenzie and Marianne's storyline reaches a really important moment. And I've written that scene, about 2,500 words. It's it was interesting because in my original draft I actually had Marianne being absorbed by a tree in the previous chapter, and it was Ursula that was left outside the tree. But now I've written this scene. I can't imagine how I would have written this scene if Marianne hadn't been there, because they are absolutely vital to the tree making its decision, or the Gaia, the leader of the Ragnarok faction within the tree, making its decision not to kill everybody but to allow Yggdrasil's plan of designated survivors. And I think the conversation that Marianne has just had with that entity has resolved that. Although we don't know that yet, I think we'll find that out towards the end of the next chapter, chapter 36, which is after the general election. So chapter 36 will be the one where Carl Tucker, the horrible bad guy that he is, becomes effectively Prime Minister. Well, not effectively, actually Prime Minister of the country. So, I'm looking forward to getting that done. So the next scene is the one that I mentioned a couple of days ago, which is the resolution of the Daniel Huxley storyline. And as I said before, I think I was talking to someone in a live stream, which is also part of this podcast, that I created Danny to die. That is the reason the character, and I knew that from day one, so it's not like I'm now feeling really bad. I mean, I feel quite bad because I like the character, but there's no feeling of regret because Danny was created for the moment that I have to write next. So I can see chapter 35 being, well, it's 2,500 words long already, but I've only written the one scene so far. I would say there's a few more scenes to come. They won't all be that long, but I think this is going to be another chapter that's upwards of 6,000 words. So 34 I thought was going to be about 8,000, but once I wrote it came in at about 6,000. There's a lot to happen in this one, so I think it's going to be at least 6,000, maybe a little bit more again. I'm not going to get any more done today because we have a flight home, which we're picked up from the hotel at about 3:30 in the morning local time.
which is actually before midnight UK time, and then we get home at about lunchtime UK time. So my basic plan for the rest of the day, now I've written the 2,500 words I've written, I'm going to upload this podcast, I'm going to have lunch, and that's probably going to be it. I've got my uniform to iron and make sure that's all ready, and I also need to keep an eye out for what aeroplane we're going home on, because I have a funny feeling it might change. But I need to keep an eye on that, because obviously the configuration, where I work changes as a result of that. If the aircraft changes, exactly what I do changes as a result of that. And even the number of people working in business class will change as a result of that. So yeah, I do need to keep an eye on that before I write out any meal order forms and stuff like that, because it all depends on which configuration of plane we're on. Hopefully it won't change, but we will see. Anyway, so yeah, that's a positive update today. 2,500 words of chapter 35 written, a really important, difficult scene written, and I'm very pleased with it. So hopefully it will read as well as it seemed when I wrote it. I mean, I've gone through it a little bit, and there's quite a lot of word repetition and clunky dialogue, but I'll tidy that all up in the edit once I finish the chapter. So, show 101. Let's hope it's not like room 101. That's me done for today. Next time I talk to you for show 102, I will be back in the UK. So thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.